Wudu has been prescribed by Allah in the Holy Qur'an, and no sect is authorized by Allah to alter or change our majestic Creator's mathematically precise steps for wudu. The Sunni and Shiite sect and their conflicting schools of thought have distorted and corrupted wudu. These sects have different steps and methods of how they do wudu. This video will expose their man-made innovations and show you how to properly and correctly perform wudu based on the Qur'an, which is the same way Prophet Muhammad did when he walked this planet. Before we start, it's very important that you understand that Allah made it very clear in the Qur'an that He prescribed, decreed the same religion on all of His prophets, and Allah also says that His Sunnah is the same for all His messengers, and there will be no changes in His Sunnah, and since this is a manifested fact, that means all of Allah's prophets have observed and practiced the same form of wudu, so there is no reason for the Sunni and Shiite sect to distort and corrupt wudu that has been prescribed by our majestic Creator, Allah. This is clear, irrefutable evidence that all of Allah's prophets, including Muhammad, were prescribed, decreed the same religion, and they all followed the Sunnah of Allah, which has always been the same for all the messengers in the past, and that Allah's Sunnah is never changeable. This means that wudu, which is a worship practice that is related to Salat, was observed and practiced the same way for all of Allah's prophets. Thus, the deviation and corruption of true Islam occurred when these man-made sects, which are not mentioned in the Qur'an, came on the scene after the death of Prophet Muhammad. These sects and their conflicting schools of thought divided our deen and altered and changed the wudu that Allah prescribed for all of us to observe in Islam. Now, we will show you some videos of Sunni and Shiite Muslims doing wudu, and pay very close attention to how many steps they do for wudu, how many times they wipe and wash themselves, and their various methods that they use to do wudu. This right here will tell you that something is not right, because we have just one Qur'an that Allah sent down to us, so there should be no reason for the existence of all these conflicting methods, which are nothing but man-made innovations that contradicts and violates the Qur'an.
Wash the hands 3 times. Rinse the mouth 3 times. Wash the nostrils 3 times. Wash the face 3 times. Wash the right hand and arm just past the elbow 3 times. Wash the left hand and arm just past the elbow 3 times. Wipe the entire head once. Wipe the ears once. Wipe the back of your neck. Wash the right foot 3 times. Wash the left foot 3 times.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Some brothers and sisters have requested from me that I prepare a wudu tutorial. The sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is to do wudu the amount of a cup and to do ghusl the amount of a jug. And this is why we're going to demonstrate how easy it is to do wudu with as much water as you can see here in front of you. We need to make sure that we avoid wasting of water and always respect the environment. The first wajib thing to do is to wash your face. Ibrahim is going to start washing his face. Of course, the top part is from the line of your hair above your forehead and all the way down till below your chin. And sideways, it is between your thumb, everything that fits in between your thumb and your middle finger, making sure that I am doing a little bit more to cover all parts. In wudu, it is wajib to wash your face once. The second time is mustahab. This doesn't mean that you can only splash water twice. You can splash water as many times as you want to, but it all comes down to your niyyah. So this would be Ibrahim's second wash, which is the mustahab wash. Third wash, there is no third wash, and if someone was to do so with that intention, it will invalidate your wudu. There is one thing that is commonly performed by some, and that is to wash up upwards, the opposite way. Ibrahim is going to show how that is done. This is wrong. It's called naqs, and it invalidates your wudu. You need to make sure that when you are washing downwards only. If you do have a beard, you don't need to scratch into the beard. You only need to be covering it. When you finished washing your face, and of course there are many supplications and du'as that can be recited. Hopefully it would be a good idea for my brothers and sisters to memorize these du'as for each process during wudu. It's mustahab when you're going to start washing your right arm to put water in your right arm and then put it onto your left and then start washing your right arm. You're washing your right arm from above your elbow all the way down till the tip of your fingers, making sure that you're covering all parts. Again, first time is wajib, and then your second wash is a mustahab wash. Making sure that you're not doing naqs, show them how naqs would be. That will also invalidate your wudu. Of course, it's mustahab as a male for you to pour the water on the outside of your elbow, and if you're a female, you are pouring water on the inside of your elbow. Seeing that you have finished your right arm, you are now going to wash your left arm. Again, from above your elbow all the way down, between your fingers, making sure that you've covered all parts. Making sure that you've also washed this area, because this area which has the crinkles is usually left out sometimes. When you finish washing your arm, your left arm, you make sure that you no longer touch anything, because you are going to have to wipe your head and your feet with wudu water. Wudu water means that you are that whatever that's on your hands now is going to be used for the wiping. Let's say you are using a tap. This is what you would usually do when you are turning the tap off. You have some water left over in your right hand, and you are going to finish with washing your left arm. So you would do something along these lines of turning the tap off and then finishing with you washing your left arm, maybe the second time, the mustahab time. So you've stepped away, you haven't touched any foreign water outside of your wudu water, like the sink or the tap or anything else. Then you're going to wipe your head. I did say in the beginning that your head needs to be dry, because when you are doing the masah, the wiping, your head needs to be dry. You are wiping the first third of your head. It's mustahab for you to do it with 3 fingers or more. Now it doesn't matter which way you do it, that is absolutely fine. After you've finished wiping your head, you are now ready to wipe your feet. Just in case you're outside or your hands have dried, you can use your wudu parts to obtain more water. So, for example, Ibrahim's hand is now dry. He can use his beard or his arm to get some water on his hand, so he is able to wipe his foot. The last stage is the wiping of your feet. You wipe your right foot with your right hand, your left foot with your left hand. You need to make sure that when you are going to do the wiping, the top part of your foot is dry. So, for example, Ibrahim would have drops of water on the top part of his foot, and he has dried them now, and then he's going to go down and do the wiping. This is how you do your wiping of your feet, and you need to make sure that your foot is fixed. It doesn't necessarily mean that the foot is on the ground, on the floor. It can be raised, but you are wiping your foot with your hands. This is the end of the tutorial for wudu. I do hope, inshallah, that my brothers and sisters have benefited from this. If there are any questions or comments, please do not hesitate to inbox me and contact me. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin.
With the washes of your face and your arms, you must at least do it once. It's jais to wash twice, but it's not allowed, it's haram, to wash 3 times. So what's a wash? You can wash your face as many times as you like before you start ablution. But when you make the intention of ablution and you put the water on your face and you cover all the obligatory parts, that's called one wash. Same with your hands. You can wet your hands as often as you like, but when you start with the intention of wudu, that's one wash. Step 2. Now that you've completed the 2 washes, we come to the 2 wipes. The wipes of your head and your feet.
Most traditional Muslims are not even aware that Allah has addressed wudu in the Qur'an. In Qur'an chapter 5 verse 6, we can see the Arabic word salat in this verse, and we can see the correct amount of steps that we are supposed to do for wudu. Allah has only prescribed 4 steps for wudu. I will repeat. Allah has only prescribed 4 steps for wudu. These 4 steps are mathematically precise, and we cannot alter or change these 4 steps that Allah has revealed in the Qur'an for all Muslims to observe. A lot of Muslims lack knowledge of the Qur'an, and they think they can add extra steps to Allah's perfect and mathematically precise 4 steps for wudu. We will definitely prove later on in this video that such man-made innovations of adding extra steps of wudu will be a violation of the Qur'an. As we can see from the Qur'an, the amount of steps for wudu is clear. There are only 4 steps, and that's it. We cannot add nor subtract from the 4 steps that Allah has revealed in the Qur'an.
Step 1. Wash your faces. Step 2. Wash your arms to the elbows. Step 3. Wipe your heads. Step 4. Wash your feet to the ankles.
Allah makes it very clear that no one cannot abrogate or change anything in the Qur'an, but these sects are guilty of doing this so they can distort the true interpretation and meaning of the Qur'an to support their sectarian school of thought. Read these 2 verses very carefully. The fact that we can't abrogate or change the Qur'an totally eliminates and destroys the Sunni and Shiite sect for using their fabricated hadiths to add extra steps for wudu. Allah revealed the Qur'an to Prophet Muhammad. All the verses of the Qur'an came out of his mouth, and this means that Prophet Muhammad followed these verses, which means that he will not come along and violate the Qur'an and change Allah's prescribed 4 steps of wudu by adding extra steps. These sects are in violation of these verses, and this is evidence that you cannot use the hadiths to add more or extra steps for wudu. Prophet Muhammad did not practice the corrupted, distorted wudu as taught in the Sunni and Shiite sect. Prophet Muhammad only followed the Qur'an, and he clearly states, as revealed by Allah, that he could not alter or change the Qur'an, and that he only follows what is revealed to him, again, which is the revelation of the Qur'an. As you can see in Qur'an chapter 10, verse 15, Prophet Muhammad said, "Say, I cannot possibly change it on my own. I only follow what is revealed to me." Again, this is further evidence that Prophet Muhammad would not have altered or changed the 4 steps of wudu that Allah has revealed and decreed for all of us to follow. The Sunni and Shiite sect have fabricated hadiths that violate the Qur'an and causes Muslims to commit shirk without them realizing it. Now, I want to address a question that may be in the minds of all of you, which is, how many times do we wipe and wash ourselves for wudu? The truth of the matter is, regarding how many times we wipe and wash ourselves for wudu, it does not matter, because Allah never specified how many times in the Qur'an. Our Creator, Allah, only listed 4 steps that we have to do for wudu. It does not matter how many times you wipe and wash yourself. The amount of times you wipe and wash yourself for wudu will be your personal preference.
When people hear the adhan or the call to the contact prayer, they prepare for the prayer, the contact prayer. And they do this by observing ablution. And ablution is decreed in the Qur'an, in Surah number 5, verse number 6. And it is very specific. It gives you 4 steps. Remember that, 4 steps of ablution. The average Muslim today has 8 or 9 or 10 steps, which constitutes, actually, in reality, some other god that added these steps because they do it religiously. And it constitutes idolatry. So please be careful and observe what the Qur'an says. The Qur'an, the whole Qur'an, and nothing but the Qur'an. And the Qur'an gives us 4 steps. The first step is washing your face. The second step is washing your arms to the elbows. The third step is to wipe your hair. And the 4th step is to wash your feet. These are the 4 steps decreed in the Qur'an. And it is actually a gross transgression to add anything to the 4 steps or reduce anything. Some people will say, what is wrong with washing my nose and my mouth and my neck and all this, my ears and so on? Of course, there's nothing wrong with extra cleanliness. Go take a bath or a shower if you want to. But when it comes to religious practices, we must adhere to what our Creator dictated exactly. We cannot increase it, reduce it, or increase it by anything. So it is very crucial that we follow what our Creator said in the Qur'an. These are the words that came out of the Prophet Muhammad's mouth. Ironically, those people think that they are following the Prophet Muhammad by increasing the number of steps in ablution. And you and I know that the Prophet Muhammad could never disobey God. So if God said 4 steps, this is it. The ablution is 4 steps. So now let us go to show you, demonstrate for you the 4 steps of ablution, the wudu.
We find this commandment in Surah number 5, verse number 6. And I will quote the verse for you. It says, O you who believe, when you get up for the Salat prayer, you shall wash your face, your arms to the elbows, wipe your hair, and wash your feet. 4 steps. And these are the words that came out of the Prophet Muhammad's mouth. These are the words of God. And God is saying, you shall observe the ablution 4 steps. Washing the face, arms to the elbows, wipe your head, and wash your feet. These are the 4 steps as dictated in Qur'an. However, like everything else, innovations, superstitions, traditions crept into God's commandment, and Satan distorted the commandment. Now, the vast majority of Muslims observe something like 9 or 10 steps in ablution. And this is very serious because it simply means that there is some other God who told them to do the ablution 9 steps. They wash their hands, their mouth, their nose, their face, their ears, their neck. They have all kinds of innovations and additions. And I would like to warn you that you must never increase the steps or decrease them, the steps of ablution. You must obey exactly what God told you in Qur'an. If you want to wash more, you might as well take a shower or do whatever you want, but outside the ablution. If you are taking a shower or a bath, you can do the ablution after the shower or the bath while you are still in the shower. But you have to go through the motions of ablution as I will show you now. So let me show you, demonstrate to you how to do the ablution. First of all, you roll your sleeves so you can wash your arms to the elbows. Here we go. We are now demonstrating the ablution. You go to the faucet, and the first step in Quran is wash your face. So you wash your face. Here we go. Okay, let me stop right here and remind you of something. You should make an intention. That is, you say, I intend to observe the wudu, or the ablution, before you do that. And you say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and you commemorate God in any way you want. You say, Alhamdulillah, Subhanallah, Allahu Akbar, anything you want to commemorate God. But and if you want to say it in Arabic, the intention should be Nawaitu al-Wudu. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So here I go, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Nawaitu al-Wudu. And then the first step, you wash your face. Okay, I wash my face twice, and I feel like I did a good job. So this is good enough. There is no set number of washing your face. The second step, the arms to the elbows. So here we go, washing the arms to the elbows. the same thing. And this takes care of the second step. The third step is you wipe your hair. So what I will do is I wet my hand and then I wipe my head, like this. And this is the third step. The final step is wash your feet to the ankles. So you put your foot there, wash it thoroughly. And this takes care of the right foot. And then the left foot. That's it. There you have it, the 4 steps of wudu. Very simple. Don't add any more steps and don't reduce the steps. Now that you've finished the 4 steps of wudu, wash your face, your arms to the elbows, wipe your head and wash your feet. You are ready for the Salat prayer.
Step 1. Wash your faces. Step 2. Wash your arms to the elbows. Step 3. Wipe your heads. Step 4. Wash your feet to the ankles.
There are a lot of Muslims and so-called scholars that falsely interpret the practice of wudu to mean that we have to physically clean ourselves. The purpose of wudu is not for physical cleanliness. I will repeat, the purpose of wudu is not for physical cleanliness. The greatest debater in Islam said, "The ablution also serves a psychological purpose. The person is washing not because he is dirty, but because he is going to present himself before his Lord." Wudu is a symbolic cleaning process prescribed by Allah, which helps serve the purpose of creating the psychological and spiritual state of purity for the Muslim man and woman, which helps them in preparation of Salat. By using common sense and analyzing Qur'an chapter 5 verse 6 and Qur'an chapter 4 verse 43 that addresses wudu, we can logically draw the conclusion that the purpose of wudu was not designed to physically clean your body, because wudu holds good for us just as long as we don't do anything that nullifies or breaks that state of wudu as outlined in both verses in the Qur'an. Notice in both verses that addresses wudu, the Qur'an does not say that you have to conduct wudu right before you do salat, or when you complete the wudu, then you have to immediately do salat. The Qur'an does not say this. Sometimes, out of convenience, the Muslim man and woman may conduct wudu at an earlier time and at a different location and maintain the wudu state until it is time to observe salat, and they may even observe the salat at a different location from where they did their initial wudu at. We can do one wudu for more than one salat, or for all 5 salat, just as long as we do not do anything that nullifies or break the state of wudu. Now, during all the scenarios that I have presented and the time span of those scenarios, the human being goes through the day and collects ambient dirt, dust, bacteria, and elements envelop on the body, and you do not have to conduct wudu. And this is clear evidence that wudu is not designed to physically clean your body. Wudu is a symbolic cleaning process prescribed by Allah, which helps serve the purpose of creating the psychological and spiritual state of purity for the Muslim man and woman, which helps them in preparation of Salat. A lot of these sects and their so-called scholars misinterpret this verse to mean that you have to be physically clean to touch the Qur'an, which does not make any logical sense at all. Of course, if your hands are dirty, it's only common sense that you go wash your hands with soap and water before you pick up the Qur'an. But this verse has nothing to do with being physically clean before you touch the Qur'an. This is their false interpretation, just like how they do wudu wrong. This right here is the correct interpretation of this verse. Quran chapter 56, verse 79. No one can achieve true insight into it except those who are purified. The deeper meaning of this verse is saying that we have to be sincere, pure in our minds, heart, niyyah, in order to understand or have true insight into the meaning of the Quran. However, on the contrary, there are people who read the Quran with a closed or biased mind. There are many people who attempted to read the Quran with an indoctrinated, programmed, brainwashed state of mind. There are people who read the Quran who are just not sincere. There are a lot of people whose minds are plugged into the matrix and do not think outside of these systems of control, and because of that, along with their lack of sincere and pure niyyah, they will not understand or have true insight into the meaning of the Quran. The following is what nullifies your wudu or breaks the state of your wudu: having sex, sexual orgasm or climax, digestive excretion, urinary, fecal, or gas, being intoxicated.
Allah